Good afternoon. We're calling the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission to order. First item, if we can have roll call, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Erasmo Villarreal,
Present.
Jose Tellez,
Present.
Carlos Flores, Mr. Beckenheimer,
Present.
Raúl Galde,
Present.
Johnny Narvaez,
Present.
Mr. Abraham Lugo,
Present.
Daniel Lopez, Jorge Dominguez.
Present.
For the record, Mr. Chairman, you do have quorum.
Make a motion to excuse Carlos Flores as well as Daniel Lopez.
Second. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Before we move on, I certainly would like to recognize our two new commissioners, Mr. George Beckelheimer. Thank you. And Mr. Lugo, Andy Lugo. Certainly, we look forward to working with you all on the Planning and Zoning Commission. Look forward to all your input on all the different issues. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Next item that we have, everybody, can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item we have is consideration of the approval of the minutes of the meeting of January the 17th.
I move to approve the minutes of January 17th, 2019.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second motion.
And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. The next item that we have, do we have any citizens' comments at this time?
No, sir. Nobody's
Thank you.
signed up.
All right. Next item that we have is the review and consideration of the following master plans. First one is a review and reconsideration of the revision of Cuatro Vientos Sur subdivision master plan. The intent is residential and commercial. This revision includes reconfiguration of Phase 10 into Phase 10 and Phase 12. This is a 184.41 acre site and is located west of Cuatro Vientos Road and north of Pita Mangana Road. The zoning for this 837 lot development is R1A, R1B, R1MH, and B1. The proposed action is approved subject to the following comments from planning, from water and utilities, from traffic, parks and leisure, and notice to developer from planning. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Wayne Nance, Border Sands Engineering. We agree with the comments.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does anybody in the commission have any questions for Mr. Nance?
No question.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nance. What are the wishes of the commission?
Motion to approve, subject to the following comments.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item that we have is a review and reconsideration of Los Presidentes East Master Plan. The intent is residential and commercial. The purpose of this revision is to reconfigure phases and realign streets. This is a 170 acre tract and it is located west of Concord Hill Development and east of Cuatro Vientos Road. The zoning for this 185 lot development is AG, R1, R1A, and B4. The proposed action is approved subject to the following comments from planning, from engineering, from fire, traffic, parks and leisure, and a notice to developer.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant has requested this item be tabled.
All right. We have a motion to table.
Motion to table.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, tabled. Next item that we have is a review and consideration of Bella Vista Master Plan. The intent is residential. This is a 63 acre tract. It is located north of State Highway 359 and east of the Judy Gutierrez Parkway. The zoning for this 223 lot development is R1A. The tract is located in District 2. Proposed action is approved subject to the following comments from planning, from fire, Water and Utilities, Traffic Safety, Parks and Leisure, and a notice to developer from planning.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant has also requested this item be tabled.
So moved.
We have a motion
Motion table?
Second.
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item, review and reconsideration of the revision of Southern Development Subdivision Master Plan. The intent is residential and commercial. The revision includes changes to Unit 4. The site is 115.37 acres. It's located south of Highway 359 and east of Concord Hills Boulevard. The zoning for this 378 lot development is R1A. The proposed action is approved subject to the following comments from planning, from traffic safety, from Parks and Leisure, and a notice to developer. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. Edward Garza with Crane Engineering. I'm here on behalf of Southern Development. We're here today because we're asking for reconsideration primarily for Unit 4, which is the southern part of our development. We had already received preliminary approval earlier or late last year, but we had to work out on a secondary access with the fire department. That's why we're here tonight. We have been working with the city on that issue, and we're able to come up with an option that was suitable to achieve why we're here tonight. So we do agree with comments and request your approval on that.
Any questions for Mr. Garza? No questions. Okay. What are the wishes of the commission?
Make a motion to approve item, subject to comments.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item that we have is review and consideration of the San Jose subdivision master plan. The intent is residential. The site is 53.52 acre tracts located south of Casa del Sol and west of Ala Verde Drive. The zoning is, for the 458 lot development, is R1MH and R1A. Proposed action is approved subject to the following comments from planning, from fire, and traffic and safety, Parks and Leisure, and a notice to developer. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Donato Ramos. I'm the owner of all of the property adjoining this particular subdivision, and I'm actually the one that constructed the San Jose subdivision. I am opposed to this action for a very simple reason. When I subdivided my tract of land, and I don't know if
We can show it right there.
let me see.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, thank you.
What is really at issue here is what I'm going to call phase 12 of my original subdivision. And what the proposed action items, what they're wanting to do is close this access and this access, which has always been part of my subdivision. And the idea behind that is that someday we're going to develop, hopefully, the property to the west and to the south, and that would be the means of access to those additional tracts. What the proposed developer, he knew when he bought this tract of land that we had that access. And I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to pick up, by canceling my easements, he's gonna pick up a couple of lots here. And obviously that's gonna be more money in their pocket. I have lived out here all my life. I'm very familiar with it. Besides, the reason for those two accesses is for fire and the fire department. The gentleman's here. I spoke to him before the meeting, and he says that it's not in the best interest that these two accesses be eliminated. He says, because once you do that, you're creating a cul-de-sac. Here, let me show you what they're proposing. they're proposing this cul-de-sac. And we have some pictures, but the road all the way down here to this point is very, very narrow. In addition to that, I think this is of significance. This road is next to Henry Cuellar Elementary School. This is a school. If there's ever a need, hopefully never, for fire department access, this will deprive them of that. Now, in the future, when I develop this tract of land to the west and to the south, and we have homes here, and children need to get to Henry Cuellar Elementary, if you eliminate this, you're gonna force them to go all the way around to come to Henry Cuellar, as compared to having a quick access down here and here. So there's health reasons. The most important reason is that I always anticipated that I would have access to these two tracts of land by means of the original easements. So what I'm asking is that you deny their request to change the San Jose subdivision plat, that it continue as it was originally platted as Phase 12. It's been some years, it's been about 20 years, but the circumstances haven't changed. There's still a need to access, there's still a need for utilities and water and the fire department, and if you want to confirm what I just said regarding the need for these two entrances.
Correct, Ruben Dominguez for the Laredo Fire Department. Yeah, he's correct. What this phase that's here, 12, what was originally approved meets code. Now, in the new plan, they're removing these two exits here. The threshold is 32 lots. Once you exceed 32 lots, you're required to have two remote means of access. And with this closed, obviously, we don't have it. It doesn't meet code anymore.
Okay. Anyway, if you all have any questions, I'll be glad to answer it. But I hired engineers back 18, 20 years ago, and this is what they recommended. And I haven't seen an engineer say that this is not the right thing to do. It's obvious that the new owners of the Phase 12 property just want to pick up two lots, put some money in their pocket.
Mr. Ramos,
Yes, sir.
when you sold it, you reserved the easement. You live right behind there, right?
Yes, sir.
And so they're essentially trying to get rid of your easement that you reserved.
Yes, sir. I have an easement not only for the street, but also for utilities, so that we can extend utilities. And that was on the recommendation of the engineer, which I thought was very smart at the time.
Now, if, in order for the landowner to do it the proper way isn't to come to us, right?
No.
What would be the proper way for him to try to remove your easement?
He'd have to either sue me or establish some crazy reason for knocking out the easement. But it's an easement of record that was created back 18, 20 years ago. I think it was in the year 2000.
So if we were to approve this,
You'd be facing, well, one, you've exceeded your authority. Two, it'd be contrary to the easement that I retained, and I think we'd all be in trouble. I just want to do what's in the best interest of the community, and the fire department, I think, has got their finger.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm going to speak like this, or I hit the button?
That's already on.
Oh, okay. I'm curious as to planning's recommendation to approve.
According to fire department's comment, it seems that they would need two access points, not necessarily those two, but they already have one, according to the, will you show them?
Right, for clarification, in the original, they have three access points. And
Can you show
what's
them up there,
needed,
so you can point it out?
Here.
yeah, originally they had three access points. You have one coming in through here, you have this one, then you have this one. They're removing two, we just need two remote. So we would need one on this side, and then this one over here, just two remote access points, not the three of them. Two remote access points would meet fire code.
But so, basically what you're saying is, those two access points that are being shown right there is what you need. To
One of
meet-
them.
You need one out of
Yeah,
the
'cause
two.
all we need is two, and we already have this one over here, and we need one to access over here, because what they're turning it into is just a dead end.
I got you, but I guess my question, let me rephrase my question then. If we remove one of them, then you don't meet code. Is that correct?
Well, no, like, let's say you get rid of this, you turn this, this
right.
into a lot right here. Well, now you still have 2 points to enter, you can come in through here, and you can come in through here.
But as
Well,
presented.
wait. My understanding of the revision was to eliminate,
Both.
to eliminate one of them.
Let me put it here.
There you go, you see that? Is
That
that,
creates a cul-de-sac and
Right.
eliminates
So they
both.
have to meet these codes.
okay, so basically all you'd have now is one.
Correct.
Subject to
And we need one more somewhere up in this area.
Yeah. I mean, and if you go back, I guess, the question to the original master plan, it complies.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm asking that you deny the request, and let's go back to the original master plan. I mean, we've all been living under that, and I think this is very significant. It's not as if the buyer of this property didn't know what he was buying. But here, all of a sudden, he says, well, I think I can convert two lots into, or these two streets into lots.
Mr.
And
Chairman, the old master plan expired.
I'm sorry?
The old master plan expired.
The old master plan expired.
The master plan expired.
Yeah, but the easements did not. The easements that were filed, yeah. No, I mean, she's right. I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is that easements were established
Okay.
20 years ago. The whole subdivision has been functioning very well. We're now at a point where we're going to, in all probability, and I don't know how soon, develop the rest of this property. And we've always anticipated that these two streets would be the means of access to the south and to the west.
One more.
Sure, go right ahead.
But still, from planning, I'm just curious, because you're recommending approval, but it's.
Subject to the comments.
Right, but do the comments indicate that there's gonna be a second? Because this shows one only.
According to the fire comments, they would need one other than what they're showing in the master plan.
Because it's preliminary, they have a chance between now and final to fix
I
those
see.
issues.
All right, thank you.
Oh, we wanted to just ask, were the easements recorded?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Easements involving real estate are typically recorded in
we'll
record
just-
for them
We
to
just don't
be.
have We don't have a record of that, that's why
Did you check?
we don't check for it.
Yeah, I know, what I'm saying is, if you don't check, you don't get them. Yeah, but, yes. So, I don't want to rock the boat, but I think that the fact that these easements have been there for so many years is of great significance. And I think really it's in the best interest, for future developments that you have full access. If you look at the street, Mr. Escamilla took a picture. This is a picture of, from this point, going this way. And look how narrow it is. So in the morning when kids are going to school and stuff, there's gonna be a lot of congestion if you limit the access the way it's proposed.
I have a question for the engineer. Who's the engineer of record on this master plan?
Manuel Escamilla, representing San Jose Ranch. So
All right.
with Mr.
I guess my question is, there is a 40-foot
I'm sorry,
easement.
excuse
That's
me.
not the engineer for this submittal.
I'm with Mr. Ramos.
Okay, well, let me ask him the question because my question is in reference to the easement. The easement of record that Mr. Ramos has is a 40-foot easement,
Well, so the 40
or,
foot.
or what is the width of the easement?
That was the intention back then with the master plan, but back then 40 feet on a right of way was allowed, so that was the intention back then. Should it go to 50, I don't think Mr. Ramos
Okay.
would be
That-
upset.
You answered my question. It was 40 feet back then when it was done. That's,
Yeah.
thank you.
I just want it the way it is, nothing more, nothing less.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Ramos or his engineers or anybody? Who is the engineer that is, Do Right, or who is this?
Ricardo Ramos.
Who is Do Right?
Ricardo Ramos is not present.
He's not present.
Is the applicant present? No, but, so neither the
Neither
applicant nor
is
their
present,
engineer.
so then table,
I make a motion to deny.
deny? Okay. You have a motion, do you have a second?
Second, I have a second, yes.
I'm sorry?
I'll second that.
A second. All those in favor for denial signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against? No. Motion carries for denial.
Thank you very much, yes.
The next item that we have is preliminary consideration of the plat of La Herradura. The intent is residential. The site is 23.4 acre tract. It's located south of Highway 359 and west of the EG Ranch Road. The zoning for this 139 lot development is R1A, and the proposed action is approved subject to the following comments from planning, from fire, from water and utilities, traffic safety, and parks and leisure.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Wayne Nance, Port Arthur Engineering, we agree with these comments.
All right, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Parks and Leisure says you need to go to the Parks Board for approval. Has that been done?
No, sir. This is the preliminary plat, and we will be submitting a parks recommendation. We understand that has to be taken care of before we come back here for final. And of course, we're going to address that. We wanted to get this to planning and zoning first, given that it's a single-phase development, and that's why we're here.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
You
Mr.
answered my
Chairman.
question, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Nance from the commission? All right, what are the wishes of the commission?
Motion to approve, subject to the following comments.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. The next item is a preliminary consideration of the plat of Bella Vista subdivision, Phase 1. The intent is residential. This is a 5.47 acre tract located north of Highway 359, east of Judy Gutierrez Parkway. The zoning for 32 lot development is R1A. Proposed action is approved subject to the following comments from planning and fire, water and utilities, parks and leisure, Webb County Appraisal District, and a notice to developer.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant has requested this item be tabled.
Table, okay?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Next item we have is preliminary consideration of the plat of Santa Cecilia Estate subdivision. Now, here's, the master plan got denied. The engineer of record is not here. Your recommendation is approved subject to the following comments. I would recommend to the commission that we table this item.
I would make a motion to deny it. It's gonna be the same issue. It's a piggyback
It is.
request
It
off
is.
of the
It
first
is.
one.
Right after the master plan, yeah.
And it still modifies the master plan in a way that the same issues are gonna come up gave rise to the denial.
Okay, but let me just ask one quick question to the planning. If the item is denied, how soon before they can come back?
Can they come back the next 2 weeks?
Well, they can appeal it to the city council.
No, wait.
No,
6 months?
it doesn't go to.
It's not a zoning
Oh, it
issue,
doesn't?
so they can
Oh.
come back anytime if they ever fix up the issue. All right, you have a motion on the floor,
Make a motion to deny.
Second motion.
and we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Preliminary consideration of the replat of Lot 3B, Block 1, Jackman Ranch subdivision, Unit 1 into Lot 3A and 3B, Jackman Ranch subdivision. The intent is commercial. Site is a 1.61 acre tract. It is located south of Jackman Road and east of McPherson Road. The zoning for this 2 lot development is B3. The proposed action is approved subject to the following comments from planning, from fire, water and utilities, and a notice to developer.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the Commission. Rodolfo Torres from Tech Engineers, represented the owner. And the first comment, fire, we already clearly this comment with the fire department because the owner has access through Jackman and exit to Saldana Street.
So, let me see, you already, you got, you rearranged your,
No, sir.
They have an access agreement recorded. They have access from the neighboring lot.
Chief Dominguez, is that,
Our examiner, what he explained to me is that he initially believed it to be an access agreement, but now it claims it's an access easement. Yeah, and that's what we were explaining to earlier. It's an access easement. We struck our comment. We have no issues with it.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we did want to add a comment from planning staff to just rename it to be Lot 3C and 3D because 3B already exists.
Okay, no problem. And the other comment from the utilities department. So this project drains to the 30-inch sanitary sewer line along I-35. We're about a mile away from I-35, and this is an existing building. So they've been there for almost, what, 20 years? So both buildings have sewer connections, not adding anything.
You're currently connected to the 30-inch line?
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know this
Well,
comment.
where are you all, I mean, because this
Jackman.
comment says you need to go to the sanitary sewer.
Yeah.
You say that you've got services right now or no?
Yeah. This is where
To
the,
a city, to a city utility?
yeah, this is where the Linex built business is on Jackman, right next to the concrete channel, almost in front of the funeral home.
It's right next to the airport, somewhere there?
Yeah.
Right?
Are you sure that's not a, this is for staff?
Yeah,
Is that not a misprint for
Says I-35
or
This,
something?
this is says I-35, so it doesn't make any sense.
And no, that's
This
why.
doesn't make any sense, you're right. And if you already have existing services,
Yes, sir.
this comment makes no sense. Where is utilities?
Well, we're checking their comments.
This is a, sorry, it was on this. I'll go ahead and send it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Raul, tell me what it says, I can't read it.
Which does,
Sanitary sewer from this project will be directed to the North Laredo WTP, which does have capacity.
yes.
LWD will approve this project once it goes to OSS processes.
We'll revise that comment.
So that, can we ju, like, if we make the motion, we just make a motion to approve it, subject to the following comments, with the exception of comment number 1 from the water and utilities,
To replace it with this one,
to replace it with that one?
which he concurs with.
Yes.
Okay, so you agree with that, Mr. Torres? You're good with that?
Yeah, we agree with the comment.
Mr. Torres, you said, okay, so you have an access easement or you have an access agreement?
Easement on both lots, on 3B and 1F.
Okay, so it's not just an agreement with you and the other landowner?
Yeah.
Okay.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
So the drainage thing is not an issue?
No.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Make a motion to approve, subject to the following comments, with the exception of water and utilities, note number 1 to be replaced with the language that I read off of the overhead.
And
second that
to remove-
Substituting for this water and utilities notes that's on our packet.
Were you going to remove
What
fire?
about the fire and then
Oh.
the lot numbers?
Oh, and also the fire,
Yeah,
And to rename the lot?
And to rename the lots.
and to rename.
and to rename the lots. Thank you.
I'll second that
We
motion.
have motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, thank you. Next item that we have is preliminary consideration of the replat of the amended plat of Lot 1, Block 1, San Isidro Southwest, Phase 3, into South Isidro's, into San Isidro Southwest, Fairview Phase 1. The intent is residential and commercial. It's 109.95 acre tracts located east of I-35 and south of San Isidro Parkway. Zoning for 169 lot development is B4. Proposed action is approved subject to the following comments from planning, from your water and utilities, traffic safety, parks and leisure, and a notice to the developer from planning. Yes, sir?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Ricardo Villarreal, Howland Engineering on behalf of the client. I do, just if we can go over a couple of the comments. The one on the Parks and Leisure comment, just for clarification, I did speak to Parks and Leisure. They want to submit, for us to submit a master plan to recalculate the number. Parks already approved this master plan for money in lieu of, and it was, the way it can read is that we need to go to the Parks Board and get reapproved. But after speaking with Karina Klun with Parks, it's just a resubmittal of the master plan to recalculate because the number of lots changed on the phase. Just a clarification on that. And the water utilities, the first comment, development cannot connect to a 10-inch sanitary sewer line along Springfield. The line has no capacity to conduct more sewer flows. And the development has to be directed to an 18-inch off-site line along Springfield. Before we started this project, we had met with staff, city management, utility staff, the director. We got a different directive to go ahead and connect. This property is platted already, so if something would come in right now, they would be able to tie in because they already have a connection coming into this lot. However, residential and commercial are different. Residential does create more sewage, but we're not building everything at once. And so that was the initial talks with management. So this note is very to the point. You cannot do this, which I would love this note to be stricken, but I think it's fair on everybody's end because I know utilities is in here to talk it over at One Stop Shop and let us kind of iron any issue out through there, because I don't want utility staff to lose some teeth in this comment. It's more of can we just take it to One Stop Shop and kind of iron out any issue as opposed to just, hey, you can't do this. So
Let me ask you this. They're asking you to redirect to an 18-inch line. How far is the line? You've got a 10-inch and then you got an 18-inch. They're both on Springfield?
it's actually south and east of Springfield. So if, let me, this is probably the best overall map that I have. So the first phase is roughly somewhere here. There's an existing sewer line that runs along the detention ponds. It's a 10-inch sewer line. And somewhere in this point along the Monaco hike and bike trails, it turns into an 18-inch. So another line joins at a manhole, then it turns into an 18-inch. We do have multiple connections for the sewer when we platted the original track of the mall here. So we were just platting, we're planning to connect to an existing connection. Again, commercial, residential, this was a B4 heavily used commercial, hotels and everything, so it could have had a lot of sewage. We understand that from what we see, evidence that we see, design of the pipes, the capacity of the pipes that are out there, they have a lot of capacity. Now there might be some infiltration in the pipes that is not necessarily sewage, and that's why we want to kind of discuss it over at the meeting with the utilities department. Again, before this track was purchased, City of Laredo was involved in kind of giving insight on this whole track. The overall scheme, the overall master plan, which most of it's going to turn into residential, it is going to produce more sewage, but just the first phase is equivalent to whatever is out there right now. So might be a little, I don't know if y'all have any questions if I'm kind of explaining myself.
Let me ask you a question. I do have one question. That 10-inch line goes more or less from Monaco all the way up to Loop 20, is that right? Or past Loop 20?
Actually, the 10-inch line comes to a manhole.
Yeah.
Here, and then there's an 8-inch that pops out for
that subdivision,
Frontera, and an 8-inch that goes north. This service comes off of that manhole.
Okay, but let me ask you this, and Frontera has got how many lots up there, more or less, about 200 plus?
That's Tiara.
Tiara, I'm sorry.
That's Tiara.
Tiara,
That
I'm
is the
sorry.
one that's farther up.
Tiara is probably, for me to guess, somewhere in the 300 maybe, no more than 300, 250, 300.
They got an 8-inch coming into a 10-inch.
And then the 10-inch is at a capacity of 1.06. 1.06, the capacity of a 1.06 slope. 10-inch line is about 1,000 gallons per minute, which is equivalent to, I don't have the numbers. I don't want to say the number off the top of my head, but.
Does all of Tiara and Sontera empty into that back sewage, or do they also empty into the one off of McPherson?
That, I am not sure. I know there is some sewer on McPherson.
Yeah.
That some of it might dump, east. But that's something that we want to check. Get flows on the manholes, get proper flows on the peak. That's just, I think this comment was just brought in, you know, at a TRB, you know, just come in and, hey, you can't tie into this. My client was told otherwise, different than what this comment came out. That's why we're here, which if there does need to be some solution to this, whether it's the 18-inch, because we don't even know it's the 18-inch yet either, tie in further downstream, tie in further upstream, provide some offsite a different way. That's why I'm saying that the comment could be warranted in a different way, but the way it's written that you cannot do this, that's where we as Howland Engineering is the one that we want to study it further.
Well, there's no question you're gonna study it, and so does the city have to study it, because obviously somebody is saying, you know, one thing and somebody else saying something else, and y'all need to come together to figure out what is the capacity and you know, what is the drainage field into that 10-inch line? Really, that's the bottom line. I mean, determining the drainage field.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, after discussion with my client, it's not that he doesn't want to remedy the project. It's before we start doing anything that might be requested, this track's already platted, so it already has sewer associated with it. So if something came in and was built on this 109-acre tract, they have sewer tied in already, because of the process that they already went through, platted. We're just getting the same, we're breaking that down, getting the same amount of sewage that the 109-acre has, putting it in phase 1, maybe more, and saying, look, we're not going over the initial sewer that.
So you're platted, so you have stub outs.
Yes,
I'm
and there's already
that
stub outs.
There's stub outs in the 10-inch line.
Yeah, they have to, they're under Springfield
Yeah,
Road. All this
yeah.
was built for the,
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the mall,
Yeah,
about
yeah,
10 years
yeah,
ago.
Yeah.
What, if I may, Mr. Chairman, the comment is there, and this is a preliminary. Maybe we can approve it, since being a preliminary is coming back to us. So that at that particular time, you would have an answer, and we would have the utilities here to make sure that, in other words, we will approve it, condition it, that you will be able to tie into that line. If they come back and they said, he can't tie, then you know that you can't tie, you have to go to the 18-inch. Is that about right, Mr. Chairman? Not
I
to
mean,
delay being a
If you read
preliminary?
comment 1 and you read comment 2, it's like, you gotta do your homework type thing, you know? I mean, basically on both of these comments.
And we're, I guess, the way this book, the book, the development Bible, I guess, per se, and Vanessa probably knows a little bit more, is we have to abide by the comments that are approved by the commission. And so something so literal like this that basically gets taken care of in design is, I have to go back and I have to abide by that comment. I can't tie into that. Because that's commission action. Now, I don't mind going back and negotiating and coming back. I can't come final without getting their approval. So
Exactly. That's what Commissioner Dominguez is saying. It gives you time. We can approve, subject to.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, you gotta go back to the one stop. You gotta go ahead and figure it out. And you know, utilities and yourselves have to figure out what is the drainage field and.
Yeah.
Because if I look at the comment on the other 18-inch line, they're asking you to do the same thing. They're asking you to prove that you have capacity to get into the 18-inch line anyway. So,
Mr. Chairman, while we cannot speak on behalf of utilities, what they have shared with us is that some of the comments are prefacing, just letting them, the applicants know what will be, they'll be facing at One Stop Shop.
Exactly.
So,
What I wanted to add, Mr. Chairman, if it's okay, just to make clear that, that we need to have utility next time here, because if you're gonna try to argue here something that should have been done before it got to us, then it's gonna create a chaos here. So if the committee is good with it, I mean, I'll make a motion to conditionally approve the preliminary, because I know it's coming back to us, not to delay it, see, but with the understanding that when it come back to it, there has to be proof that either you can or cannot attach to it.
I am totally for that, and in my opinion now, I think that's what it's meant to be, what it should be. We just have to take care of ourselves on our end, that something, a comment like that that's coming in that gets approved by this body is flexible, per se, when we go and deal with it in the nitty-gritty. I also don't want, just, for future references, something like this, if utilities was here, we probably wouldn't be able to come to an agreement, because there's so much reference that we need to go back to the office, information that something like this is better for, and I'm glad these comments are here, and I think they're more, I know why they're here. It's just sometimes the way they're worded could be detrimental.
Well, Mr. Chairman, pardon me, why wouldn't we, and I'm, of course, I want everybody to be successful in this, but the drainage and sewer and MS4 and all that's obviously critical. Why wouldn't this be just clarified better and then brought back to us? Is this how it normally is? It's vague and we send them off to go negotiate?
Well, basically, he's just trying to move forward because it's preliminary. They still have to get all these comments and all these things ironed out. But all basically we're saying is if there is something in here that you can go back and negotiate, figure out, and then everybody agrees to it, that it's gonna work, then you come back with a final, and then we can approve or disapprove.
And what I see, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, this has been platted, so that means that sewer connections are there. So utility not being here, it creates a doubt whether he can or cannot adapt to it.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree,
But if we don't,
at this point, it's kind of hard for us to figure out, what's what. Because utility is not here, so we're gonna give him the opportunity to say, you know what, we're gonna let you go forth, and you get together with the utilities department, and, Mr. Chavez got a comment here that maybe he can shed some light.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Ramon Chavez, city engineer. After hearing the conversation, there's a lot of things here that I just want to share with the commission, along with being more proactive about coming to this meeting so that we can answer any questions that you may have. So at the time of preliminary, the engineers and staff, we don't review any calculations. We don't review any designs. We just see a preliminary just layout of how the subdivision is gonna be built. So at that point, we are only allowed to make some comments as to what we feel would be becoming an issue once you come into the design. So once they get preliminary approval, then the engineer of record will submit those plans officially to the one-stop shop for review and approval. So I just wanted to make that clear so that everybody understands. Hopefully that makes you make a decision. The other thing I want to mention, as Mr. Villarreal mentioned earlier, I was part of that meeting when with the utilities director was there, and he did mention that there's capacity issues in this line, and I'm not, I used to be more familiar with it when I used to be at the utilities department, but I'm knowledgeable enough to know that there's issues with capacity. So that's why at that meeting, the utilities director did mention that they would be looking at allowing the subdivision to be constructed in phase 1 with the understanding that coming phase 2, there may be some either upgrades or any other things that may need to be needed in the future.
Can I interject or ask
Sure.
on this? Is this where the city should step in and upgrade the capacity if you already know ahead of time that you're having connectivity?
Most definitely, yes, and those are things that the utilities department, I'm sure they're already looking into, because we don't want to stop development for capacity issues, by no means. We want to make sure development continues, but at the same time, we just need to make sure that the infrastructure is there.
No, well, but if you already know that we have an issue with the infrastructure, because we've had this issue come up off of Mines Road, that Mines Road is at capacity, and we've supposedly known about this for a few years.
Yes.
And essentially what we have is a spot where there shouldn't be any further development off of Mines Road because
Sure.
everything's at capacity. Wouldn't this be a good spot here? And if you already know that this development's gonna go through, his intention for the whole 109-acre area is residential. So the 10-inch pipe is no longer feasible. So when they start doing work on the ground and moving dirt, wouldn't it be best if the city just comes in and lays an 18-inch pipe all the way down to the connection?
And I guess that's a more technical question, and I can assure you that the utility department is already looking into that. There's been talks about a wastewater treatment plant, and so all those things, there have been discussions about it. It's just a matter of time to where those improvements to be done with the understanding and knowing that development is it's going on.
I get that you guys are talking about it, but the thing is, we're getting into a position where there needs to be something more than just talk and action, because we know where the problems are, and we're telling people that are spending money in our community, investing and building, and we're telling them, you know what, putting these restrictions on them when some of the inactions on the city side. And these are some of the basic functions that the city should provide: fire, police, and basic utilities. And if we know we have a problem,
Yes.
shouldn't we be more proactive in doing stuff, not just talking about it?
Correct, and I mean talking because I understand there's design involved and there's other things, and it's more, I'm not able to answer it accurately because the utilities department is not here and I haven't had those conversations. But now as a city engineer, I can guarantee that I'm gonna be having those conversations because we have to be knowledgeable enough to know that when these developments come in, that there's sufficient infrastructure and capacity. So those are things that we will be, definitely can inform the Plan and Zoning Commission about as we move forward.
Okay, thank you,
Yes.
Mr. Chavez. I think, Commissioner, you've made some good points. I think a lot of it too has to do with, as we have a new city engineer and you're gonna have probably new people in different places, the thought process may be different now.
I agree with you.
However,
But
there's
some of the people that are there getting moved up haven't.
There is one other thing that comes into play here too. Obviously, it's a cost. Do they have the money available to do what they need to do? So there's, it's a combination of things.
It's also our responsibility on the private end. Like something like this that was meant for commercial that turns into residential that increases capacity or increases discharge. It's our responsibility to upsize any type of infrastructure. We just have to get creative in a way to where we'll get it done the way the developer and the city would like to do it. It's just, we just want to work through the process and not, again, planning has a catch-all note at the very end, all easements, within the boundaries can be changed. If this comes in, maybe all comments may be changed as long as they're taken care of at one-stop shop. And that's where we would like to be.
This plan is a very nice and neat plan that has one development. The problem is that there's other issues in other areas of town where it's not as neat, that we have capacity, we're over capacity, and we've received plats and recommendations that essentially shut down a development, which gives the hint that you should shut down all development. And so it's not, my questions is not just this one plat here. There's other issues, and there's other foreseeable issues in South Laredo as well, where you've had no upgrade to the infrastructure. And is it fair to pass it along to the last developer when all these other developers have kicked into the capacity, or is it the city's responsibility, who's already reaping the benefits of the tax base and taxing these existing subdivisions where they provide some of the basic necessities, which is water and sewage? And so it's not just.
Yeah, no, it's a citywide problem.
We got it. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Villarreal. What are the wishes of the commission?
Make a motion to approve subject to the following comments.
Motion?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item that we have is preliminary consideration of the Lombraña plat. The intent is commercial. 2-acre tract located east of I-35 and north of Hilltop Road. The zoning for this one-lot development is B3. Proposed action is approved subject to the following comment from planning and comments from the fire department and water utilities. And a notice to developer.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the Commission. My name is Hugo Seca, Seca Engineering, representing the owner. We don't have any issues with the planning comments or the fire department comments. As far as the utilities, this property probably has been already served by water and sewer for the last 40 years or so, even probably after the highway came in. So we don't have any issues with the comment, except that I just want to make a note that it's already being served. So no additional loads are going to be created than what they already have.
Okay.
Right?
So then the best thing to do is to strike the comment from water utilities, because they're saying that they cannot receive any more flows, but actually you're already connected.
Yes, they're already connected. They already have a water meter and a sewer service, probably.
They already have utilities.
Yes, and they're
This
being like
comment
that
is-
probably for 40 years plus.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Seca? All right?
Motion to
Yes.
close.
I have a simple question. It's a little embarrassing, but the sanitary sewer system is the MS4. Okay, we have the storm sewer system.
Yeah,
It's, the sanitary is one thing and a storm sewer is another.
No, I know they're different.
Okay.
But we're interchanging sanitary sewer and wastewater. I'm just asking, wastewater is specifically the sewer lines of a home or a residence or commercial structure? You know, toilet,
Yeah.
right? But is that sanitary sewer?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, so they're interchangeable. So when we're talking about the storm drains, that's,
Storm.
okay, so nobody's talked about that yet on any of these developments?
No.
Okay.
No, it's all,
I'm surprised that's not talked about more. I mean, there's
Well-
always flooding it.
well, there's environmental doesn't have any, if you notice, environmental department is the one who would make those comments, okay? And that they're not having any comments. Obviously, in their reviews, are saying that
Okay.
the drainage is gonna work, okay? This is strictly water utilities, and the utilities is storm sewer. I'm sorry, wastewater, sanitary sewer.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you,
There
Mr.
are some
Seca.
items we can talk about.
Okay.
Motion to approve. Close.
Motion to approve, and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item we have is preliminary consideration of the plat of Yes and Agustin, Unit 7. The intent is residential. The site is 64.37-acre tract located at the southwest corner of the Faskin Boulevard and Quintana Drive. Zoning for 102 lot development is R1A. Proposed action is approved subject to the following comments from planning, from water and utilities, traffic safety, parks and leisure, and a notice to developer.
Mr. Chairman, we'd like to amend our comments.
Yes.
Comment number 1 should read, as shown. Instead of the period at the end, we'd like to put comma and resubmit the plat of Unit 7.
Your comment number 1?
Yeah, submit, it'll say submittal of replat. Submit a replat of the .4413 acres out of lot 181 and blocks a separate submittal and show entire survivable drive, comma, and resubmit the plat of Unit 7.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. The engineer of record is Camacho Hernandez. Anybody here?
I'll move to approve. Motion to approve as with those amendments.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Just one little
Okay.
comment, Mr. Chairman. Vanessa, was the engineer in record actually contacted with that?
Yes,
With the
yes.
additional record, and he's good with it?
We spoke
Yes.
with him.
Okay.
Is he okay with the utilities comment?
Oh, I'm not sure.
We
No,
didn't
we
speak
spoke
about
with him
utilities.
regarding our comment.
Because,
I make a second to the motion.
all right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is preliminary consideration of Block 1, Gambit Plat. The intent is commercial. It's a 1.365 acre tract. It's located in the northeast corner of Carlton Road and Tesoro Plaza Lane. The zoning for one lot development is B3, and the proposed action is approved subject to the following comments from planning, from water and utilities, and notice to developer from planning.
Yes, good evening, Arturo Arce, Mejia Engineering, and we concur with staff comments, and regarding utilities, we'll address that with utility department on the one-stop shop process.
Okay, all right. Any questions for Mr. Arce? No? All right, what are the wishes of the commission?
Motion to approve subject to the following comments.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carries. Next item is a preliminary reconsideration of the plat of Cuatro Vientos Sur subdivision, phase 10. The intent is residential. This is a 9.5282 acre tract, and it's located west of Cuatro Vientos Road and Loop 20 and north of Bianca Lane. The zoning for this 57 lot development is R1A. Proposed action is approved subject to the following comments from planning, from water and utilities, and parks and leisure, and also developer.
Mr. Chairman, Wayne Nance, Portos Nance Engineering, we agree with these comments.
All right. Any questions from Mr. Nance, from the commission? All right, what are the wishes of the commission?
Motion to approve, subject to the following comments.
Second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item is the preliminary reconsideration of the plat of the Southern Development Subdivision, Unit 4. The intent is residential. The site is 37.16 acre tract. It is located south of State Highway 359 and east of Concord Hills. The zoning for this 170 lot development is R1A. Proposed action is approved subject to the following comments from planning, from water and utilities, parks and leisure, and a notice to developer. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the Commission. Alfredo Martinez with Crane Engineering on behalf of the developer, and we agree with the staff comments.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Martinez? All right. What are the wishes of the commission?
A motion to approve subject to the following comments.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item is the final consideration of the plat of DCAF Mines Road. The intent is commercial, and the proposed action is approved.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Motion
Make
to
a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.